Welcome to The Deep Dive, or the podcast where we jump headfirst into really fascinating topics, pull out the key bits of knowledge, and hopefully leave you feeling informed, maybe even a bit amazed. If you're someone who loves a good puzzle, a real head-scratcher, or just a story that makes you go, wait, what? Then you're definitely in the right place today. Our mission, should we choose to accept it, to unpack some of the internet's creepiest, most baffling unsolved mysteries. Okay, so for this deep dive, we're drawing heavily from a great article over on Listverse. It's called Top 10 Creepiest Unsolved Mysteries of the Internet. The author is Patrick Welsh. It was fact-checked by Rachel Jones. And Listverse itself, founded by Jamie Frater, is all about sharing those, fascinating, obscure, sometimes downright bizarre facts. So our goal here is basically to sift through these digital enigmas for you, give you a map through some weird corners of the web, and kind of provide a shortcut to understanding these really baffling online things.
And what's so captivating about these internet mysteries, I think, is how they reflect us, our collective curiosity, sometimes our fears, especially in this digital age we're still navigating. They pull us in because, well, the internet allows information to just explode globally, right? But at the same time, anonymity thrives. So pinning down who's behind something or what their real intentions are, it's incredibly difficult. These stories often balloon within online communities, leaving these tangled trails of theories, but often without any real answers. It makes you question everything about information online.
Absolutely. And speaking of elaborate online puzzles, we just have to start with Cicada 3301. This is like the ultimate mysterious group posting these incredibly hard online puzzles, supposedly to test intelligence skills. The whole idea was if you could solve them, you might get invited to join Cicada 3301. But what that meant, nobody really knew. Still don't, actually. So the very first one popped up on 4chan, that infamous chaotic image board back on January 4th, 2012. And that wasn't just some simple riddle. We're talking images with hidden messages, clues involving like old Anglo-Saxon runes, and even QR codes or scan codes on actual physical posters put up in different countries around the world. And if you somehow cracked that, it just led to a website with even harder puzzles. They kept it going too. New challenges in 2013, 2014. Each one harder than the last.
Which really brings up the core question, right? What kind of group puts that much effort, resources, time into such a complex, long-running recruitment thing while staying completely anonymous? The sheer persistence is what makes Cicada 3301 so enduringly weird. Their purpose, their identity, still a total mystery.
Exactly. And the speculation. Oh, it was all over the place. A super secret government agency, maybe? Elite hackers? Or, maybe just some really brilliant rogue cryptographers. But here's the kicker. There's zero solid proof for any of it. Just questions. Okay, so from that globe-trotting puzzle hunt, let's shift gears to something maybe a bit more contained, but just as cryptic. A858. This is about a specific Reddit user and the subreddit they created, which had this really weird name, RA858DE45F56D9BC9. Right, so this subreddit appears March 8th, 2011. And its only purpose seemed to be posting these strange coded messages. The messages were all in hexadecimal format. That computer code language with numbers and AF letters. Looks like total gibberish if you don't know what you're looking at. And it sparked so much speculation. I mean, this is where it gets really interesting, that the sheer range of theories people came up with for these hex codes. Some people were convinced it was aliens trying to talk to us. Seriously. Others thought, okay, maybe government agencies, secret communications, or hackers, obviously, or maybe just one really dedicated, kind of weird prankster.
In this case, A858, it really shows how these online mysteries work, doesn't it? They're dynamic, often fizzling out without a neat ending. So the subreddit went private in 2016, just locked, and then silence. Which just leaves everyone hanging, right? Did someone solve it privately? Did the creator just get bored and wander off? That lack of closure is, ironically, part of why it's still fascinating. The absence of information becomes the story.
Speaking of cryptic messages from the early days,
Yeah.
let's rewind even further, back to 1996. Usenet. Remember Usenet? Kind of like the ancestor of modern forums. Anyway, these things called the Markovian parallax denigrate messages started appearing. And they were just bizarre, written in this weird mix of English, French, German, but making no sense. No clear author, no clear meaning. Just odd. Naturally, the Usenet community back then just latched onto it. Everyone tried to decode it. Was it some secret code, a message from who knows what, or just some elaborate early internet hoax?
What's really neat about this one is just how early it was. Predates so much of the internet we know now, and yet it's still studied. Computer scientists, linguists, they actually looked at this using computational methods, and they figured out how it was likely made, using something called a Markov chain, which is basically a mathematical way to generate random-ish sequences. Like, it predicts the next word based only on the previous one. So it can create text that looks plausible grammatically, but is actually meaningless nonsense.
Oh, okay. So they figured out the how, but not the why or the what it means. if anything. So the actual meaning, still a total mystery. But it's cool that this whole internet weirdness actually inspired real research and language stuff later on. Okay, shifting gears quite a bit now. Let's talk about a game. Kanye Quest 3030. This was an RPG, a role-playing game. Came out in 2013. Made by indie developers, clearly inspired by Kanye West. Set in the year 3030, a future where, apparently, Kanye is the ruler of the world. You know, as you do. It got mixed reviews initially, but it quickly developed this cult following. Especially, obviously, among Kanye fans, it was just quirky. But here's the mystery part. Pretty soon after it launched, the game was just pulled from the internet. Gone. So what does this all mean? Why did this weird little RPG just vanish so fast?
And that disappearance just fueled some incredibly wild theories online. You wouldn't believe some of them. Some thought it was actually a secret project by Kanye himself, like some bizarre viral marketing thing. Others got way darker. They thought it was a recruitment tool for a cult. They pointed to religious symbols in the game, how it encouraged players to question authority. There were even theories it was predicting the future somehow, which, okay, probably not. There's no real evidence for any of that stuff.
Right. And the creators always said, nope, just our indie game. But they did eventually admit they got a cease and desist letter from Kanye's legal team. So that probably explains the quick takedown. Sometimes the boring legal reason is the actual reason. Still, the cult theories were fun while they lasted. Okay, speaking of things that are just fundamentally weird and hard to explain, let's talk about this website, 973-ER-973.com. Even the name, the human, backwards and forwards with 9s and 73. It's designed to make you scratch your head. And the site itself. Totally mysterious. No obvious purpose, no clear meaning whatsoever. You go there, and the first thing you see is this creepy message, welcome to the caves of the ancients. Okay, and then it's just filled with strange symbols, cryptic little messages, really bizarre images. It just leaves you confused. Like, what is this place?
Which raises that interesting question again. Why do these abstract, almost meaningless online spaces get such dedicated followers? People spend hours trying to decipher them. The beliefs about this site are all over the map. Some think it's connected to ancient civilizations, holds secret knowledge, or maybe contains hidden messages about, well, everything. Philosophy, math, language, science, even alchemy or history. It's like a blank slate, isn't it? People project their own search for meaning onto it.
Totally. And then you have the other side, the critics, who are just like, it's a hoax, it's a prank, someone's just messing with people. But even so, it still has this dedicated group of people trying to figure it out, connecting dots that might not even be there. All right, next up we have one that actually did get solved, mostly. But the journey was pretty wild. Google's WebDriver Torso. This started around 2013. These short videos started appearing on YouTube, just sequences of blue and red rectangles, accompanied by these weird sort of electronic beeps and tones. Really simple, really repetitive. But the weird part was the volume. Hundreds of thousands of these videos, uploaded super regularly, like clockwork. Okay, let's unpack this. Imagine seeing that. Naturally, people's minds went wild. Secret spy communications, some kind of avant-garde digital art project, or just a massive pointless prank. The regularity was the really puzzling part.
Yeah, and what's fascinating here is how even a mundane explanation can feel unsatisfying to people who got invested in the wilder theories. The key breakthrough came when someone tracked the channel and it linked back to Google. Eventually, Google fessed up. They confirmed the videos were just part of an internal testing system, basically automated uploads to test video quality, platform performance, that kind of thing. Purely technical. So yeah, a logical, if slightly boring explanation. Testing software. But, you know, even after Google explained it, some people clung to the mystery. It just shows how much we want there to be something more complex sometimes, doesn't it? Okay, now let's get into something a bit darker. The video called Grave Robbing for Morons. The main intrigue here isn't just the title, it's the mystery around who made it. Their identity is totally unknown, which adds this whole layer of mystique. And the video itself, it's this strange mix. It uses really dark humor, but also social commentary. It dives into the world of grave robbing, but it kind of makes fun of it, shows how absurd and awful it is. The satirical angle actually makes you think about bigger things, like how society views death, dignity, you know.
And this brings up that tricky line between art, satire, and just boundary-pushing content, right? Especially when the creators are anonymous. What was the intent? Was it meant as serious art to provoke thought? Was it just a really edgy prank? Or maybe it was a critique of something specific, like a historical event or a cultural practice we don't even know about. Without the creators, we're just guessing. Definitely makes you think. Okay, let's go back to 4chan for another infamous one. The I Am God incident. This one was genuinely haunting for a lot of people online at the time, really unsettling. It started simply enough, for 4chan anyway. An anonymous user starts a thread titled, I Am God, bold move, and then they post this series of really eerie, cryptic messages, claiming godlike powers, knowing everything, making strange prophecies, giving these ominous warnings, even offering proof of their abilities. It was intense. Here's where it gets really interesting. How a single anonymous claim on a chaotic site like that could actually send shockwaves and genuinely disturb people.
Yeah, if we connect this to the bigger picture, it really underscores the power of anonymity online, especially on places like 4chan. And the psychological punch these kinds of grand, unsettling declarations can have, the reactions were all over the place. Some users just dismissed it, troll, hoax, whatever. But others were genuinely fascinated, maybe even a bit scared by it. It shows how easily perception can be manipulated when identity is removed.
Definitely creepy. Okay, nearly there. Our second to last mystery is about a user called Creepy Mr. 112 Dirtbag. This video got a ton of attention, intense speculation, because people thought it might be linked to a real-life cold case, the disappearance of Maura Murray in 2004. This anonymous user, 112 Dirtbag, posted some footage. And in it, they claimed to have inside knowledge about her disappearance, maybe even hinted they were involved. They dropped these hints, these clues, but they were really ambiguous. It just left viewers completely puzzled, desperate for more answers, like digital breadcrumbs.
And what's fascinating here is how these online clues, even from some random anonymous source, can suddenly become part of a real-world investigation, even if the police are looking at it very skeptically, which they probably are. But this video absolutely reignited interest in the Maura Murray case. Online communities jumped on it, analyzing every frame, every word, trying to solve a real mystery with digital fragments.
It really shows that deep connection, or sometimes collision, between online weirdness and actual tragic events. And yeah, authorities are still looking into her case, considering everything, including this video. Okay, fine, let's end with a foundational piece of internet lore. Ted the Caver. This was huge in internet history. It's seen as one of the very first and definitely one of the most influential examples of creepypasta. You know those online horror stories passed around, often presented as true. This one dates back to 2001. The story itself is presented as a blog. It follows this guy, Ted, and his friend exploring a cave they found. Starts out exciting, adventurous. But then it slowly descends into this total nightmare. Strange noises, weird findings, unnerving encounters deep underground. It gets really creepy.
Which makes you ask, how did this specific format, the blog format, so early on work so well? Why did it resonate so much that it basically launched a whole genre creepypasta? I think it's the realism. Writing it as a personal blog with dated entries, photos, it brilliantly blurred that line between fact and fiction. It built the tension so slowly, so effectively, through Ted's own words as he gets more and more freaked out.
Yeah, it's amazing how effective it was, and it inspired just countless other creepypastas. It's still popular today. And that ambiguity around it, was it real? Was it fiction? That's definitely part of its enduring power. People still debate it. Wow, okay, so that was quite the tour through the web's shadowy corners, wasn't it? From Cicada 3301's massive puzzles and the A858's codes to unsettling stuff like grave robbing for morons and, yeah, early online horror like Ted the Caver. The internet is just full of these strange enigmas, and the striking thing is, so many are still unsolved, still debated, still analyzed.
Absolutely. And knowledge is most valuable when you understand it and apply it. These stories, even the unsolved ones, they tell us so much. They show our human need to find patterns, our collective curiosity, our desire for meaning. And they show how the digital age is creating these new kinds of folklore, new kinds of puzzles that maybe never get solved. It's like modern mythology built from clicks and code.
So what does this all mean for you listening right now? Maybe the biggest mystery isn't just what happened in these specific cases, but why? Why are we so drawn to these dark corners, these unanswered questions? Why do we keep searching? Which one of these makes you want to dig deeper? Or maybe, what's the next big internet mystery that's just waiting out there to be found? Something to think about. Until next time, keep exploring.